Are you feeling trapped by your emotions? Does someone have a grip on your thoughts, controlling your peace and stealing your focus? You're not alone. Emotional entanglement is one of the most draining experiences in life, and it can hold you back from reaching your true potential. But today, we're putting an end to that. Right here, right now, it's time to break free, to take back control, and to regain your inner peace. In this video, I'll share 9 powerful Stoic rules to help you detach your emotions from anyone, no matter how strong the bond or how deep the pain. This isn't about running away from your feelings. It's about reclaiming your power, becoming emotionally resilient, and mastering your mind. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Rule 1. Control what you can, accept what you can't. Life is full of things beyond your control. People's actions, their words, their choices. Yet, we often waste our emotional energy obsessing over these things. Why? Because we feel the need to fix, change, or influence outcomes that are not ours to control. This is where the first Stoic rule comes in. Focus solely on what's within your power. Your thoughts, your actions, your reactions, these are your domain. Everything else, let it go. Imagine this. You're in a relationship, and the other person constantly makes decisions that frustrate you. You find yourself trying to mold them into someone they're not. How exhausting is that? But what happens when you shift your mindset? When you stop trying to control them and focus instead on your own actions? You regain clarity, you regain peace. The weight lifts. Years ago, I found myself in a similar situation. I was emotionally invested in someone who couldn't meet me halfway. I spent months trying to change their behavior, thinking if I just tried harder, everything would fall into place, but it didn't. Then I stumbled upon this Stoic principle, and everything changed. I realized the only thing I could control was how I responded. I let go of the need to fix them, and in doing so, I found freedom. Ask yourself, what are you holding on to that's outside your control? Let it go. Your peace depends on it. Rule 2. Practice negative visualization. Have you ever imagined the worst-case scenario? Most people avoid this like the plague, thinking it will only bring more anxiety. But the Stoics teach us the opposite. Negative visualization is a tool for empowerment. Picture the worst that could happen if you lose this person. Really sit with it, the pain, the loneliness, the uncertainty. Now ask yourself, would it break you? Chances are it wouldn't. You'd survive, you'd rebuild, you'd find strength you didn't know you had. This practice isn't about dwelling on negativity, it's about preparing your mind for life's challenges. When you've already faced the worst in your mind, the reality becomes less daunting. You're less shaken, more composed, and fully prepared to move forward. Let me share a personal story. There was a time when I feared losing someone deeply important to me. I clung to them, afraid that without them, my life would fall apart. But one day, I forced myself to imagine life without them. It was brutal. I felt the sting of loneliness, the ache of emptiness. But as I sat with those feelings, something shifted. I realized that even if that worst-case scenario came true, I would still stand. I would still move forward. I would still be me. That realization gave me a sense of calm, a quiet confidence. And when the relationship eventually ended, I was ready. Ask yourself, have you faced your worst fear? Or are you letting it control you? Face it head on and watch your inner strength grow. Rule 3. Embrace the power of impermanence. Nothing in life is permanent. Not relationships, not circumstances, not even emotions. Yet we often hold on to people as if they'll be here forever. This attachment breeds fear, anxiety, and dependence. The Stoics remind us, everything is temporary. When you truly internalize this, you stop clinging, you stop fearing loss. Instead, you learn to appreciate the present moment while preparing for its inevitable change. Think about it. How often do you stress over things that, in the grand scheme of life, are fleeting? That argument, that missed opportunity, that unreturned text, it's all temporary. I once worked with someone who became a close friend. Over time, we drifted apart, and I found myself holding on to the past, wishing things could go back to how they were. But then I remembered this rule. I realized our connection, like all things, was meant to evolve. Instead of resisting, I embraced the change. I cherished the memories and let go of the attachment, and in doing so, I found peace. Ask yourself, are you clinging to something that's already slipping away? Let it be. Life moves forward, and so should you. Rule 4. Don't let external validation define you. In today's world, we're bombarded by the need for approval. Likes on social media, compliments at work, or validation from those we care about. But here's the hard truth. Relying on external validation is a trap. It makes your self-worth dependent on others, leaving you vulnerable to their opinions and judgments. The Stoics teach us to detach from the need for praise or recognition. Your value doesn't come from outside, it comes from within. When you master this, you become unstoppable. You no longer ride the emotional roller coaster of approval and rejection. Years ago, I worked tirelessly on a major project. I poured my heart and soul into it, but when it was finally presented, I received no recognition. The praise I had anticipated never came. At first, I felt crushed. I questioned my worth and my abilities. But then, I remembered this rule. Why was I giving others so much power over my happiness? Their acknowledgement, or lack of it, didn't change the quality of my work. From that moment, I stopped seeking external approval and started finding fulfillment in my own efforts. I realized that the work itself, the process of growth and learning, was where the real value lay. Ask yourself, are you chasing validation from others? Or are you finding your worth within? Stop seeking permission to feel valuable. You don't need it. Rule 5. Let go of past attachments. One of the biggest obstacles to emotional detachment is clinging to the past. Whether it's a failed relationship, a missed opportunity, or an unresolved conflict, the past can weigh you down. But here's the thing. You can't move forward while looking backward. The Stoics believed in living fully in the present. The past is gone. It no longer exists. Holding on to it only drains your energy and clouds your vision. Let it go. Focus on what's in front of you, not what's behind. I remember a time when I couldn't let go of a failed friendship. We had grown apart, and despite my efforts to reconnect, things weren't the same. For months, I replayed our conversations, analyzing what went wrong, wishing I could turn back time. One day, I realized how much of my present life I was sacrificing by living in the past. I was holding on to a version of the relationship that no longer existed. So I let it go. I forgave myself, I forgave them, and I allowed myself to move on. The relief was immediate. It felt like dropping a heavy weight I'd been carrying for far too long. Ask yourself, what past attachments are holding you back? Release them and free yourself to embrace the life ahead of you. Rule 6. Build emotional resilience through daily reflection. Detachment isn't something you achieve overnight. It's a muscle you build through practice. And one of the most effective practices is daily reflection. Take time every day to evaluate your thoughts, emotions, and actions. What triggered you? How did you respond? What could you have done differently? This practice helps you develop emotional resilience by identifying patterns and learning from them. It's about progress, not perfection. There was a period in my life when everything felt overwhelming. I was juggling work stress, personal challenges, and emotional turmoil. Every day felt like a battle. Then I started a simple habit: journaling. Each night, I would sit down and write about my day. I examined my emotions, what triggered them, how I handled them, and what I could learn. It was uncomfortable. I had to face truths about myself that I didn't want to acknowledge. But over time, this practice became a source of strength. I saw my growth. I saw my resilience. It was like watching myself become stronger, day by day. When was the last time you reflected on your emotions? Start today. It's a small step that leads to significant change. Rule 7. Understand that you are complete on your own. One of the biggest lies we tell ourselves is that we need someone else to feel complete. Whether it's a partner, a friend, or a mentor, we place our happiness and sense of self in their hands. But the Stoics knew better. You are whole as you are. When you understand this, you stop relying on others to fill gaps in your life. You stop fearing their absence because you know you're strong enough to stand on your own. This is true freedom. There was a time when I leaned heavily on a close friend for emotional support. I believed that without their guidance and encouragement, I would falter. But life had other plans, and our paths diverged. I felt lost. But as the days passed, I began to discover a strength within me that I hadn't recognized before. I didn't need someone else to validate my worth or guide my journey. I was capable, complete, and enough on my own. Are you placing your happiness in someone else's hands? Take it back. You don't need anyone to complete you. We have more interesting videos about Stoicism and the way of life. If you want to watch a video about take back control of your life now, please click link above in the video. Rule 8. Reframe your perspective on loss. Loss is inevitable, whether it's a person, an opportunity, or a phase of life. But instead of seeing loss as something to fear or grieve indefinitely, the Stoics teach us to view it as a natural part of life's cycle. Every loss opens the door to new growth. I once faced the sudden end of a meaningful relationship. The loss was devastating, and for weeks I felt like I was navigating life through a fog. But then, I asked myself, what can I gain from this? What opportunities has this loss created? Slowly, I began to see the void as a space for new beginnings. I pursued passions I had neglected, built new connections, and rediscovered my independence. What once felt like an ending turned into a powerful new chapter. Ask yourself, what growth opportunities can your losses provide? Every ending is a chance to start anew. Rule 9. Practice voluntary detachment regularly. True detachment doesn't happen only when we're forced to let go. It's something we can practice proactively. Voluntary detachment means occasionally stepping back from people or things you value, even when you don't have to. This strengthens your ability to let go when life demands it. A few years ago, I decided to take a week-long break from social media. It was a voluntary act of detachment, and to my surprise, it was incredibly liberating. I realized how much of my emotional energy was tied to scrolling, comparing, and seeking validation. By the end of that week, I felt lighter, more focused, and more in control of my time and emotions. It was a powerful reminder that I didn't need constant connection to feel fulfilled. Ask yourself, what could you step away from, even temporarily, to regain your freedom? Detachment is a skill, and like any skill, it gets stronger with practice. In this video, we've explored 9 Stoic rules designed to help you detach your emotions from anyone or anything that no longer serves you. From focusing on what you can control to embracing voluntary detachment, these principles empower you to take back control of your emotional well-being. Remember, detachment isn't about shutting down your feelings. It's about mastering them. It's about freeing yourself from the chains of dependence, regaining your peace, and living life on your own terms. The time to act is now. Start applying these rules today and experience the strength and freedom that come with emotional resilience. If you like the video or you don't want to miss future videos, subscribe. Till the next time, stay strong and live wisely.